Okay, so this is the Fairfield Bike and Pedestrian Committee meeting, 6:36 on Thursday, November 21st. We are missing Tim Callahan and Tom Keene. We have Sandy on the phone, and everybody else is in person. And we have Bill Hurley here.
I'm sorry, who was on the phone?
Sandy is on the phone, and Santina. And is anybody else on the phone?
Where's Mary?
Okay.
Mary Hogue.
Oh, there we go. Great.
And we have Mary.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't find my phone.
All right. Okay.
Call to
So
order.
call to order, and then do we a motion to approve the minutes from October 17th? Second. Somebody?
Oh, second. Sure. Second.
Any comments on the minutes? Amy, you got the one that I sent you that Tom was
Yes.
here last time. Okay. Anybody else? Motion to approve the minutes? Oh, wait. We can just vote, right?
Yeah.
Just vote.
I'll say aye.
Okay, I'll say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. So we don't have any members of the public except for Judy, and so I'm going to skip public comment. Judy Proctor is here tonight. She attended the Vision Zero Cities conference a couple weeks ago. Judy is a very wonderful advocate for safe and livable streets and very active in the community. And so we asked her to come to just give us an update about like what she learned at the Vision Zero conference and give us a chance to just kind of talk about what you learned and what we can share and how we can move forward with the town.
Yeah, so thank you. First of all, I want to tell you I'm not an engineer, I'm not a planner, and I was invited by Families for Safe Streets, which I don't know if you know that organization, but it's for folks who have lost loved ones to traffic violence. So I went, and fortunately Sarah had asked me and somehow knew I was going, and so asked me to sort of be on the lookout for things that might be appropriate for folks at your committee to understand a little bit more about Vision Zero. And so I just jotted some things down, and I'm pleased to see that actually Fairfield is pretty far along in adopting Vision Zero, which is wonderful. At the state of Connecticut, we are fortunate to have the head of the DOT is also the head of our Vision Zero Council. Other states have not adopted a Vision Zero Council. So, we are a long way in terms of saying, yes, this is what we're going to do, have zero traffic deaths, but the implementation is hard. Mm-hmm. And so there were speakers from Austin, from San Francisco, New York, Portland, Jersey City, and Salt Lake City. And, those are just the breakout sessions I went to. But what struck me is how much Vision Zero, how much it encompasses. So just in order to get to having fewer or no traffic deaths and fewer injuries, we need to do things to our streets. We need to make them narrower. We need to have, we need to have bioswales. We need to have more sidewalks and bike lanes. And the very, the goal of having those safer streets creates a healthier population. So not only do we walk and bike more, we're healthy, but we don't have the first responders coming. We don't have all that trauma and financial, aspects to it. So, the health things, it was engineers, it was planners, enforcement needs to be involved. Healthcare workers, sustainability was huge. I hadn't even sort of had that thought almost, like, yeah, you have more people walking and biking, and you have, fewer cars, and all of that is wonderful. And then on top of that, there were a number of cities that had all sorts of, green streets or safe streets. And they had, various flood mitigation by creating these bioswales and planting, and as well as pollinators. So it was expanding. And just a couple of things I said, one of the key things that, the stumbling blocks that some of these cities had is that their departments were not clear about their roles. And so there needs to be somebody that, connects all these departments. And I know by the Complete Streets and, we're on the way to hiring somebody that's going to be that connecting person. And then they would suggest things like, what that creates is, when the gas and electric company or sewer are digging up the roads, this is the best opportunity to create bump outs and all sorts of other, traffic calming, et cetera. So that, I know that, that's one of the focus of our new administration here is to have have folks talk to each other. Right, Bill?
Yep.
Yeah. And then the other thing, they said make sure to have somebody that's on to the funding. And I know, as I understand it, that's another initiative so that we can, get those SS4 grants, et cetera. And let's see what else. This is sort of a helter-skelter. But data collection, hugely important, so that what intersections are, have in the past had crashes, and those, can be the focus of where you're going. New York and San Francisco, speed and red light cameras are huge. So actually I was talking at World Day of Remembrance, and Sarah, thank you for coming with the other Sarah. And I was talking to Garrett Eucalito, and he said, yeah, I'm looking forward to having a town really step up to the plate and, adopt speed and red light cameras. So I guess no other town in Connecticut has as yet.
Not yet.
Stanford,
And
though,
New
is.
Haven.
Stanford and New Haven.
New Haven and
yeah.
Stanford are ahead of us, but Fairfield is looking at it for specifically designated school zones. So the first step that kind of came up at the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, was they got approval, the Fairfield Police Department got approval to do, I think it was 6 designated school zones.
Great.
And that sets the groundwork to then be able to have the speed cameras in place in the school zones specifically, among other things. And the RTM, I believe, after this traffic authority ordinance is done, will take up a speed camera ordinance that they used Stanford and New Haven's, I think, draft ordinance. So we're kind of on the way for that.
So I'm sorry, there's a traffic.
Yeah, I'm going to talk, we'll come back to it, because I'm going to bring it up in a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
If that's okay.
Well, and then it's hope, I'm also, listening in, I'm a citizen advocate on the Vision Zero Council. So they want to put legislation in place that would broaden the use of the speed cameras. Right now, as you know, they're only in school zones and then on some
construction zones.
Construction sites, but they said there are really only 3 cameras at the moment on those construction sites, and they're going to be 15. I go, oh, we should have them all over, in my opinion, on I-95 and, state roads where all that crazy speeding and crashing and deaths are. So, what else? The public engagement was huge with these cities in making sure everybody was on board. So that includes, you know, it includes businesses and, you know, to get them to understand what, you know, the broad goals of Vision Zero. And so that when it comes to, well, we might have to take away a parking space, they're going to understand what the economic benefits are, of which there's a lot of data on that. You know, how people walk and bike more, they're going to, you know, spend more time, you know, leisurely walking to stores, this and that. And then really important, Austin made the mistake of sort of not explaining to people that they're state roads and they're local roads. And our state roads, as we know, are the worst. You know, Route 1 and Route 58, Black Rock Turnpike, but, you know, even under those I-95 passes, you know, that's a state road, we can't do much about it. Right, Bill?
Yeah, well, they put it this way, they have jurisdiction.
It takes a lot longer.
They pass the maintenance on to the town, but they have jurisdiction.
So we're responsible for sidewalks under there?
Yep.
Oh, now that I know that, we're gonna go after it.
They usually will say their designation is they maintain curb to curb.
Curb to curb.
But if we want to do anything, then we need to get encroachment permits and need them to review and give us.
So if you wanted to do like a really nice sidewalk under there, because often they're just, you know, a mess.
Yeah, a lot of times they're either asphalt, some might have concrete, but they're just asphalt, or sometimes they're just dirt. And then you combine that with, you know, the pigeon, guaco, or whatever that word is, and then you have it seems to be where the wind tunnel is, and that's where the garbage collects, and then because not many people feel safe going underneath it, you start getting soil and then grass and dirt and brush, so then it gets all overgrown. We have done a couple, and by you mentioning this, it's going to remind me, we did a pretty good improvement maybe 3 years ago in Brentwood under that underpass. And I should check it out and see how it's doing. We actually did a concrete, and we might even did stamped concrete underneath there. For Brentwood. So you reminded me to take a look. I haven't been over that way in a while. So thanks.
So then one line, Bill will appreciate this one too, from New York City, that they moved from an engineering to a planning culture. So that's sort of a little overview there.
Usually we work,
there's plenty of work.
Because we usually, you know, it's the same thing, civil engineering and construction engineering kind of merge, and if done correctly, the planning agency and engineering. Matter of fact, I took a planning course, and I'm not a certified planner. But and with our zoning department, we got two really good people working there, Emmeline and Jim. They do a great job. So.
Okay, but then, you know, sort of one of my big takeaways is that the Vision Zero goals are actually sort of sad ones, and I know this a lot. And somehow to change the nature of the conversation to show how, you know, by implementing Vision Zero, you're going to have this healthy community. And, you know, it's really exciting, you know, a place where, you know, people walk and they bump into their neighbors and they, you know, turn down the dial and, you know, walk to the store, et cetera. I mean, those are the kinds of things you see, for instance, in Black Rock, where they've got all those great sidewalks. And then in Southport, we see it, you know, Southport. So, you know, you know, there are lots of things that need to be done to get there. And then the other thing they encouraged was you don't have to, you know, you don't have to take huge steps. You can, you know, start with the quick build. And 5 years later, you know, which is painting, Well, I was just looking at Jersey City, that's what they did. They started with a quick build on, a really bad intersection, and then, 5 years later, they do the proper bump out and green planting, and so worked for them, so.
Yeah, the good news is, depending on the scale of the quick build,
Yeah,
Connecticut had done a couple of them, 3 of them as a model, and I think it only took maybe a year or a year and a half versus the 5
Right.
years. So
Yeah.
they're squeezing that schedule, so that's good to hear.
yeah, so, they're great goals, and our town would really benefit by everything that you all are doing, and by the direction things are going.
Thanks, Judy. Thank you for that presentation.
Oh.
Did they talk about how, having a tree canopy also just encourages?
Yes,
people?
so there was a whole, green streets are safe streets, and that's what just, people drive more slowly when there's green, and, then the whole flood mitigation, I go, wow, this is, when you're putting some, a bump out, and then you've got some green planting, and then there can be drainage as well. That's, sustainability, et cetera.
Can I, as a forestry person, or representative, I just would like to say that we plant at least 300 or so trees in the right-of-ways every year. So this is why I'm here. It's because we believe we align with the Complete Streets concept. And we agree that, along with canopy and safety, it provides all sorts of other benefits. So I appreciate the comments about trees and helping out on your perspective as well.
Yeah.
So, any other questions for Judy while we have her?
I can leave you with this book.
Sure.
I did. Oh, this is about World Day Remembrance, which is past. So,
Awesome. Thank you, Judy.
well, thank you. Thank you for being interested, and thank you for all your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy.
Okay, moving on, Chairman's report. I have a lot to just update on, but I'm going to try and be fast. So the first thing is we have a candidate who's ready to join, Alex Ressi. He should be going in front of the Board of Selectmen on 12/4. And then Tim Callahan said that he is not going to stay on. His term is up at the end of this month, and he's not going to stay on, so we still have one opening. I'm going to talk to a couple people who are in the pipeline, one of which, Mike, is Nikki. I just haven't reached out yet. And there's a couple other people that look interesting and seem aligned with our goals and whatnot.
Could you spell Alex's last name?
Ressi.
Oh, wow,
And
you spelled it right.
Is he a Republican or unaffiliated?
He's unaffiliated.
And what was Mike, I'm sorry, what was Tim?
Tim, was unaffiliated or Republican, so. Jen Carpenter made it seem like we could have one more Dem, so we're gonna talk to Nikki, and then I think there's an unaffiliated person and a Republican, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to all three.
We're trying to cover all the bases, keep it fair. I think it would
Yeah.
be good to have people who have considered themselves Republican to be on this board.
Yeah.
Want to be inclusive.
Is there a requirement, like with the commissions, to have
Yeah.
them split?
You have to have it. I thought it was 5-4, but Jen made it sound like we could have 6 Dems, so.
I thought that it was like 3, 3, and 2 or something like that.
No, I don't think. I'll double check with Jen before we
I
move
know they
forward.
do allow a majority, but they don't want it to be an overwhelming majority.
Yeah.
And certainly, if it was like 5, 3, and 1 independent, that was.
That counts, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
They might be able to do 2/3, but I know they won't let you go more than that.
I think
So
she
like
said
you
6-3 was
yeah.
okay, but we're gonna talk to,
They would know, she would know.
The difference that we're a committee, we're not a commission.
Doesn't
I
matter.
don't think it's something
You know what,
in like the charter.
I think it's in our charter too, yeah.
And so maybe
We
that
should
was.
know. I Just for,
I'm pretty sure it's left over in our charter but I think that it has to align with the town's charter Okay, the Vision Zero pledge went out to, Bill Gerber brought it up at the department meeting last week or the week before, and had an overwhelming, positive response. They made, the first selectman's office made a couple of changes on who's going to sign it, but nothing material. And so that's going out. There's going to be an actual parchment that they're going to bring out, and people actually have to sign. Oh, awesome, great.
Well, my name's on there too.
Yeah, Bill's on there. He's got to sign. But to Judy's point about having everybody kind of aligned on the same ideas, and it does touch multiple different groups and multiple departments throughout the town. So it'll be good to have the accountability moving forward that the relevant people are on board. One thing, and we can talk about this a little bit more later when we talk about our goals, but in October, the last 2 weeks, there were at least 3 children who were hit either on bikes or in crosswalks in town, on Reef Road, Burroughs Road, and Tunxus Hill. And again, I think, Anya and I have talked about how we can maybe amplify some of these things that are happening so people understand that when we are coming in to do complete streets work, that there's real reasons behind it, and to mitigate people getting injured. And so that's something we want to talk about a little bit later, but just to, raise those up as we see them, because this work does have meaning in what we do. The designated school zones that I just mentioned, Hector Irizarry actually let me know today that a couple weeks ago they were going to roll the school zones out to 4 to 6 more schools in town, but it looks like they're actually going to include 9. So there's 3. No, there's 3.
So,
They're doing public and private. Assumption, Umpqua, and Fairfield Prep are included, and then there are 6 other schools in town.
Stratfield too, I assume.
Stratfield.
So that's the good thing about Assumption, Umpqua, and Stratfield.
Are all
the school route.
Right. So. Yeah. So that is going to go before the local traffic authority. Hector thinks in January, and then last time it took a few months. He has to get state approval after the town approves it, and that took a few months. But hopeful that's all moving forward. And then I think he said that leaves 4 or 5 schools left that they'll do in a third wave. They had whoever the powers that be kind of agreed on this approach that they were going to do it in phases. So the last phase will include the rest of them.
And sorry, can you remind me just one more time, when this becomes a school zone, that means they get cameras?
Well, so
lower speed limits? What does this mean?
Once the school zone is designated, then it's a candidate under the Connecticut State Vision Zero laws who have speed cameras. The municipalities have to pass an ordinance permitting the use of speed cameras.
Okay.
So my understanding is once the local traffic authority is moved from the police commission to this new body, then the RTM will take up the speed camera ordinance. Okay. And then for whatever reason, it had to go linearly and not concurrently.
But legally, if you drive by one of the schools, it will say speed limit 20, and it gives the hours, with some extra time.
I want more than signage.
No, but it enables them to enforce, and I've seen the police out there at a couple of locations. And like Sarah said, it's the next step where now that you've established that, and that gives you the permission to use the other. Yep.
Is somebody trying to say something on the phone? Okay, never mind.
Maybe,
The next update was World Day of Remembrance was last Sunday, and I went to New Haven. So Judy's son actually died 4 years ago from he was hit by a car while he was on a bike up in Boston, I think. And that,
Cambridge, Boston area.
Yeah, Boston area. And so she's on the committee for the World Day of Remembrance in Connecticut, and it was I've never been to one before, and they have family members of people who have been killed, and they've also had they also had a woman who survived being hit by a car as a teenager, and it was like very powerful to hear the stories and how basically like in an instant you're like just changes. And they also had Senator Blumenthal was there, Garrett Eucalito, who's the head of DOT, and a couple other of New Haven's like mayor and city council representatives that also spoke. But it was, it just helps put into context how important this stuff is, and how most, if not all, of these incidences are preventable. So I wanted to talk about that. And the SS4A grant was approved by the Board of Selectmen unanimously on Wednesday, which is great. I think, does that go to the Board of Finance? Yeah, it's got 2 more, Board of Finance and the RTM. Yep.
The Board of Selectmen meeting is right?
Yeah.
It's usually going.
But that's good news, so it's moving forward. And I think an RFP will go out soon.
Yeah, actually, I have used the task force RFP. I added to it. I did some tweaking here and there. There was only one major revision because in the RFP it stated that it should include designs, and unfortunately the federal government made it strict that there's no design. However, I did get them to say, could they plan on at least doing conceptual and, as a way, and they said yes. So to give you an idea, a preliminary design is like 30%, a conceptual is like 15 or 20. Okay. So we're at least getting something on that. Yeah, so.
And then the last thing is the RTM meeting on Monday, the 25th at 8. There's going to be a complete streets update or report. There's also, they're going to take up, there's a $1 million bonding request for complete streets projects. And also they're going to hear the traffic authority ordinance. So back to your question, Adrian, right now the local traffic authority resides in the police commission. There was a state law change recently that says it can reside outside the police commission. So Fairfield is going to move to a traffic authority body. I don't know what the term is.
I think just a new traffic
authority. So it'll have representation.
Will they have police officers?
Yeah, they'll have police. It'll have the police chief or his designee, and then a representative from the police commission, so the chair or his or her designee, and then other town employees and members of the public. I think it'll be a mix.
Kind of like relevant stakeholders, and basically just allowing that body to make approvals instead of the police commission for final traffic.
And it also kind of cuts out a step. So right now the way it works is like, I think Bill and some police members take a couple commissioners on a trip and they discuss it, and then it'll kind of cut out the middle piece of having to go to the whole board.
It would be more, being honest, it would probably be more technical. Some of the police commission members are truly volunteers, but they're not really traffic experts. And so by having somebody maybe from planning and zoning, and I don't know the final, I know they talked about having somebody from engineering, they talked about maybe public works, police or fire, obviously, and then there might be a couple of others. There might be a member or two from the public as well, or from this commission. I don't want to speak because
I don't think anything is finalized.
Yeah.
But there's a wide net of people and departments that could potentially be included.
Right, but they're going to be more concentric or have more knowledge of the safety issues and
but if anybody can attend the meeting or write letters of support, it would be good to have.
Is there ability for public comment, or?
I believe so, at the meeting.
Oh, that's the one on
Monday at 8, yeah.
I'm just going to try to be there.
Yeah, I'm planning to go.
Usually they make the motion, they hear it, and then they said any comments from the public, and then you'd be able to comment.
Can you attend remotely?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I won't be here.
Can I just offer some advice that if you have comments, that you should email them in advance of the meeting. It's much more helpful for the RTM members to have that in their thinking for the vote. Just to offer that.
You know, that's a good point. Plus, then they're not taken by surprise or something like that, because the vote actually occurs on Monday.
Right, and then also if you don't get a chance to speak, and you're limited to 3 minutes, so if you have something more lengthy to say, it becomes, once it's emailed, it becomes part of the minutes for the meeting. It becomes part of the record, so.
I would also suggest, though, that comments lead with the lead. You know, really tell them what you want to have happen. They're, you know, very busy people as you are, as volunteers with other parts of your life. So unless it's data that can be, you know, bolstering, you know, factual data or scientific data that bolsters your thoughts, they just need to know how should I vote, and here's why in the 3 or 4 sentences, and then any scientific data. I just think too much personal ideas is not going to go in your way. They're going to turn you off because it's too much information for them to get through.
Good advice.
Okay, that was it for me. Committee member reports, Anya. Safe routes to school.
Yes, so I called in last night. To the PTAC meeting and invited everyone there to socialize an invitation to all the schools to find volunteers to represent safe routes to school for their particular school. So the idea is we're trying to form a safe routes to school committee with representatives from as many schools as possible. So I gave them a flyer they could put in newsletters and a little form they can use to sign up, and basically said, you know, if you have a representative at this committee, you are more likely to have your issues heard and addressed than if you don't have somebody coming. And I said that they asked for like a deadline for signups. I said, you know, we'll probably have our first meeting in January, so let's aim to kind of get the word out around now, and then we can meet in the new calendar year.
Great. It did go out to Riverfield.
Oh, good.
So they're going to put it in their sneak peek coming up in Sunday. So the representative from Riverfield that was there had sent it, copied me on it. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay. I was curious because I didn't really, it was kind of like radio silence. I'm like, I guess, okay, we'll see.
Is it like school employees, or is it like PTA people?
PTA. So PTAC is the town-wide PTA, so there's representatives from all the schools. There's also representation there from the Board of Education, so Katie Flynn was there and spoke.
So it would be like a subcommittee of this committee, or?
No, it would be like a PTAC committee, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, we'd clearly be working very closely. I thought we'd be part of it.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I feel like Sarah and I kind of looked into what it takes to run a Safe Routes to program. It's still kind of fuzzy as far as what actually. So we thought, you know what, we'll just start where we start. Let's get people together. Let's start identifying problems. And then as a group, we'll look for solutions. We'll use the resources, you know, available in the Safe Routes to School program Connecticut and see how far we get. So I don't have like real good specifics about what this will look like, but you know, we're going to get going. I'm sure we'll be reaching out to you, Bill, with stuff. So.
In 2008, I had done one in an effort to try to get some grant money, and it was successful for the Unclewood linkage. So that would have been the Ludlow School.
Oh, okay.
And and then
linkage?
the Stratfield one.
Are you talking about sidewalks?
For sidewalks, yeah. And so that was done, but then it kind of, you know, you need the constant support.
Yeah. Did you have a group, or you just kind of
we had just to show you, like the high school, there was nothing, but the one principal, I think his name might have been Roger. He was principal of the year for Fairfield. Ludlow Middle School, and he was involved, and so he signed a document, and they had their day of, having someone come in and talk about safety,
Sure.
about bicycle safety, pedestrian safety.
It sounds like people were doing things that only made.
Yeah, very on the cursory level. I think
Yeah.
at one point it might have been like 6th grade education or,
Yeah.
or something like that, 6th or
Was
7th
this
grade.
Jeff Speck? The guy that came to Westport? No? Okay.
Oh, no, he's talking back in 2009.
Yeah. And then the state used to have a Safe Routes administrator. I don't know if
They still do. That's,
Well,
well, kind
they're
of.
in the process.
Oh.
So there was one,
Yeah.
and she just transferred departments in there, and they said they're looking for another person to fill her shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So there should, at least that role is still available, it's there.
Okay.
But there's not a person currently in it. Or at least maybe there is now, that was a couple months ago.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
so I got.
And then, do you want to talk about the video opportunity?
Oh, sorry. My lips are really chapped, so it hurts to smile. I don't know what's happening. It's on daily of rain, she's better. So I was at this parents' evening, and I ended up talking to this guy, who's a video producer. He mostly does like commercials, but he had recently, he was really affected by the death of a Westport High School student on his bicycle. It happened not too long ago. And he was thinking about what he could do about it. And so he was sharing how he wants to make a video to maybe like bring awareness to these issues. And I was like, let's do it together. Let's think about like, you could own the video, but maybe like our group can come up with what messaging would be, like if we have this resource, what is the message that we want to get out in video form? So as of now, I don't really have like a specific ask for this group. I just want to kind of make you aware of this opportunity. We can kind of think about it, and maybe we can, I'll touch base again with him to make sure he's actually committed to wanting to do this. And then maybe at the next meeting or in January, we can talk more tactically about what that could look like, what this video should be,
Is this like supposed to be like a PSA or?
It's just a guy who has a bunch of skills and wants to use it to like reduce traffic deaths.
Whatever it is, great.
So as far as whether it's that's the conversation we need to have.
Sure.
Like, there's a guy who's offering the skill set, what can we use it for? Like, what would be helpful?
And then do you want it as a positive message, or do you want it as a little scare? Remember when I met you?
Distribution channel too, right? Like, is it something like maybe they could put out, again, depending on the message, right, they can have it done, but is it something that, like they could play in homeroom at the schools, or is it something we're gonna put on TikTok, or if
so many questions.
Can it be put on Fair TV, anything like that, yeah.
So today, I just kind of want to make you aware, like, hey, we might have this resource. And then at a meeting in December, January, I just want to check in with him again, make sure he's really interested, and then I hope to bring in, and then we can kind of brainstorm more detail. What is the message? What is the channel? What is, how we want to use this? But it was kind of, it was fun. He seemed
cool opportunity.
He seemed very enthusiastic about doing something like this. So maybe we can bring him in, maybe in January, and we can have a conversation.
It feels like this would be the person who could help would be somebody who's well trafficked in the areas of like public service, public relations. Does that make sense? Somebody who's like, no, I mean, I'm visualizing it like somebody who knows how to, create a campaign and like has an objective and here are the strategies for doing this. And
we might want to invite Lisa Claire, who's in the first selectman's office.
That's
Right.
She's 2020, right?
She's doing the town-wide education campaign. So we should probably talk to her about it too.
See if she has ideas about how to best utilize them. Yeah, and then we could talk to
Well, just remember.
I'll make sure it's interesting for him too.
Yeah.
Remember the meeting, it was the first time I met you, was at that library? They had a couple of the videos, and that's what I mean.
Was that the first time we met?
Maybe one time.
I don't remember. It could have been.
But, was it, did you know Kristen McCarthy Behe?
Yeah.
Was she the one? I was just wondering, or somebody, or
She
maybe
was
with
there?
Sarah,
Sorry.
who might have introduced you to me.
Sarah Roy, probably, because Sarah Roy was running that event, and she was making all the connections.
Yeah, but they had a couple of videos, and one or two were more shocking than the others. That's why I mentioned that. So.
That's a good idea, to get Lisa involved.
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
Yeah. Okay. And then on the agenda, I had Tom I just happened to notice in the RTM meeting that they're taking up like the exact provision that he wanted to change to encompass like clearing out bus shelters. It was a very random that I caught it, but he did not send an update through, so I don't know what's going on with that. But
What does that mean, to clear out bus shelters?
When Steve was the chair, we all kind of took on goals, and one of them Tom brought in was there's a provision in the charter specific to what you're supposed to do around snow removal, and so I think Tom had wanted to kind of expand what was required so that like bus shelters, because he has noticed that like bus shelters don't get shoveled out in front of. I don't know all the specifics that he wanted to do, but that's. And then they're taking there are members of the RTM that are bringing it up at the Monday meeting for something totally different. But I thought it would be a nice piggyback, but I don't know if he's reached out. Okay, so town department updates. Mary, do you have anything for us?
I'm happy to report with your assistance that Fairfield has the highest certification in the state for Sustainable CT's municipal certification on sustainability. So we are now a gold certified community as well as a climate leader. And we were honored at their event in Old Saybrook last week. And so I appreciate your assistance on letting us document all the great work that you've been doing. I also was at the Board of Selectmen meeting this week, and there was a Complete Streets report that included information about the right-of-way. And I just wanted to make sure that as a forestry committee, because I do both, forestry and sustainable Fairfield, that since we plant in the right-of-way, I just want to make sure that we correlate and collaborate on anything that happens in the right-of-way.
Mary, it's Bill, and we at least have a link, but right now in our section 6, we do have specifications for plan and guidelines and planting and maintenance that sustainability and your group had worked on and got approval for, and then Jeff Minder and Jeff Randolph and engineering and DPW are working on getting a landscaping agreement. So like if we do medians or islands, we can get something if a neighborhood wants something more than just concrete or asphalt. So yes, those are working. And right now we at least have a link, or we'll provide a link and maybe even include the, a portion of that I don't know what you call it, policy, I guess, that you guys have.
Yeah, the native plant policy. No, it's not so much like the plans and stuff. It's just giving us a heads up. Hey, we're doing this.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. All right, so I'm glad.
Yeah, no. I appreciate. I mean, Bill, you're my hero. So no worries there. I talked to Jeff and Minder. There's too many Jeffs in this one. And I just wanted to make sure that like the information flow was going. That was all. Because I think that it's important for us to, whether it's sustainability or forestry, because I can never figure out which side of my head I'm supposed to be wearing what hat. We can keep growing in the same direction. And same with bioswales, because Becky Bunnell, who is chair of whatever the new name, it's called FERB.
I call it FERB.
Yeah, it's like FERB, and there was some cartoon. But it's important that, all the sustainable kind of focused groups can work together. And if we can just like copy the chair of whatever that group is on this stuff, that would be really, really helpful, because then we can knowledgeably help each other. I don't know if that's always been happening. We're all in agreement with each other, so there's no conflict. It's just that it's like heads up, we're doing this. That's what I'm hearing from folks. So.
So it's a copy beforehand, before they do the project, to give you a heads up and a comment?
Well, just when you're, like whenever it's happening, just, whenever you start the project.
Oh, okay.
Like, hey, we're doing this, and then the chair of that group can say, keep me on the distribution, or, tell me when you need me, kind of thing.
Okay, yep. I'll pass that on.
But they're all very excited about everything that we're doing, and would love to participate more. Same with the green teams that are at all the schools. So if that's a group that wants to participate in all this stuff, because they want to help make the health of kids as positive as possible. But they're just also in terms of our gold status for Sustainable CT, just a heads up, we don't know when, but we will be doing we always have a hallelujah, thank you, we made it kind of celebration. And it will likely be around the holiday season, December, January, because we have a lot of kids that help us. We want them back from school. And we usually hold it at the museum so that the town staff can come over around 6 to 8 kind of thing, so it's not too far after the work day. So you'll all be getting invitations because you've been a big, big help, and we really appreciate all your efforts and being able to document all the great work that you do. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. Santina, do you have any updates from the health department?
Just wanted to share that about 3 weeks ago, I went to an event at Holland Hill. And so we were just kind of talking about what the health department does and, scheduling people for vaccines. But I also had their coloring books on bike safety and the importance of wearing a helmet, and crayons and stickers. And we handed out about 50 of them, and the kids loved them. So I also wanted just to bring awareness that we do have a few boxes of those. So if you guys are ever out at table and events or anything like that, please feel free to let me know. And I'm more than happy to give you these little packets. Like I said, the kids really liked them. It's kind of all encompassing, it has the crayons already and the stickers. But other than that, that's it.
Awesome, thanks.
I didn't know this, we could use that at the bike rodeo event back in May.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to use those going forward.
Hey, Santina, how many of those do you have?
I can count tomorrow and let you know, but I have probably about 200 left, so quite a bit.
Don't
count.
Yeah.
Well, I can count by the box.
You had 20 left?
Well, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Bill, engineering update?
All right.
On things we haven't touched on already?
I'll do it real quick if we had. Mega, Jane, and I had completed the semifinal draft of the Complete Streets Right-of-Way Manual. This is what was handed out to the Board of Selectmen yesterday. There are still some maps, some text, some updates, some stuff. There's one chart that we want to revise a little bit, but for the most part, it's probably somewhere between 75 to 90% done. But there's still enough time for obviously comments. I'll check with Bill. I mean, right now, if you want to at least get a sneak peek, I'm sure it's going to be for distribution. But if you want at least a sneak peek of it, if you go to the Board of Selectmen agenda, it would be under the backup items. And so you could at least see what it looks like or thinking. I mean, I can pass it around if people want to at least take a quick glance and look at it. As I said, Mega had provided major contributions to the text, and she was really the one that made those easy-to-read slides. I would have given you boring text and a couple of PDF pictures, but she really made it look professional.
We all have different strengths, though.
Yeah. So on that. But yeah, it's something I think we're proud of, and I think going forward it will be a very useful tool. The Safe Routes for All grant, as I said, I made some tweaking. I added a couple of sections. I'm also going to try to see if there's a way that we could get some speed and volume data as well incorporated into that. But obviously the task force had written I'm going to use probably about 80 to 90% of what they had done. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. If that's what the task force wants, I think, it was just mine just to.
And that's like
provide.
the task force through the government? Is that, or is it?
No, I think it might have been, I was assuming it was like Sarah, Roy, and Jeff.
Oh, that's what
Randall.
you mean. Oh, yeah, that RFP.
The Vision Zero RFP.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, just wanted to.
So I added a couple of things, and as I said, the one I had to take out, the design part.
Okay.
But, so that's, my goal would be it should be typed up by tomorrow or a Monday, and then I'll send it out to some distribution and to whoever had input into that. And if they have any questions or comments, then before I give it to purchasing, and they can put it out. I didn't want to go too far ahead because our agreement, as you said, went through the Board of Selectmen. I've been working with the FHWA. We believe we have the final agreement in place, which is actually here. So if anyone didn't believe me, here's the agreement. But and even there, it lists a summary of the statement of work. It has a budget to it, which is why we had to go to the boards as well. It has, and then it also has some attachments where, they want us to look at, equity. They want us to look at reducing barriers of opportunity. They wanted to know about climate change and all that. So we had to mark a box and put a comment of what we have. So like for the climate action plan, rather than have to do a new one, MetroCog has done one. And so we made sure to put in a link, put that in. We've been heavily involved on that MetroCog one. I know Emmeline and myself and a couple of other town people have been involved with that. So we included that. And then it was support for good paying jobs and strong labor. So there's a lot of things in there that you normally wouldn't associate, but when it's a federal grant, you got to go by their guidelines and all that. But they already gave us comments. We addressed them, and so now I think it's ready to go. So then we just need the board approval, and at the same time we have that, and I think we'll be able to, knowing that. I think if right after the Board of Finance, which is usually the first Tuesday of the month in December, if it passes that, then I think we'll push purchasing to release the RFP so that we get that. And then just some basic projects, 20 to 30% done with the Stratfield RSA. That's just conceptual plans. And the jug handle, the same thing with them.
What's the boundaries on the Stratfield one?
The Stratfield one officially goes from the Churchill intersection by Unclewood School all the way down to Collingwood. Collingwood is where the traffic light is. There used to be where they call it the 19th hole. It's like a bar. Capitol Avenue.
19th hole is by Capitol. Collingwood is the stoplight that cuts in between. It goes right up to Ward. And
no, that's Cornell.
Cornell. All right, so
it's past that.
Just before.
Yeah, it's by the 19th hole and Capitol Avenue, Bridgeport and Collingwood on the Fairfield side.
Oh.
So it goes to that signal right at the Bridgeport line, and also includes the four-way skewed intersection of Wilson, Fairfield Woods, and Churchill Road. So
Are we talking about that grant?
yeah, right. So that's okay. So
What's the status you said on that?
they have conceptual plans.
Oh, can we see them?
So I can see if we can send them out. I just have to check.
When is the right time to give feedback? I'm very invested.
Well, at the 30%, as I said, the conceptual is about 20%. So at 30%, we'll have our public meetings and have that.
I guess I can.
And yeah, but what I'm going to do as a courtesy, because it's the way I feel anyway, is people who have vested interest if we could give you maybe a week or two preview before that, I think it would be beneficial, because if you guys aren't happy with it and we go to a public meeting and you start having negative comments for some reason. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that I live there and involved in this committee, I mean, I have a lot of insight.
Right. So, but it also, the jug handle, the Kings Highway Phase 3 project, the state finally gave us the approval to proceed with the road diet concept. There was, and that's where we left off. So from Villa Avenue to the Bridgeport line on Kings Highway, Route 1, we're going to improve sidewalks there as well.
I need a map of me.
And, okay, sorry.
Hold on, no.
And then the other one.
Where like Enzo's Deli, like that area?
No, Villa Avenue to Bridgeport, so Aritza, where Giant Steps used to be.
Oh, yeah, okay. All the way up.
To Bridgeport, and then there's even from Andros Diner to connect to that 5-way intersection with Moody Avenue.
Down by
Driftwood, is that the name? No.
Crossroads.
Yeah, the Crossroads. Yeah, right.
That's where one of the kids.
That's it. Yeah, I think that's where one of the kids.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So that's right in there. That's.
Oh, yeah. I think people drive through that intersection incorrectly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, okay. And I'll just say something. I was going to finish up. Southport connectivity. The town put it out to bid, and
darn it.
we're going to implement that project in the spring.
Approving whatever happens.
Judy Proctor was there. She's working with Mega on the Chester and Pequot. The McKinley, here's though, this was a little bit of a setback for us, but we'll get back. McKinley connectivity, we do appreciate everybody's support, because I put that in the record. But we put an RFP out and no consulting firm submitted proposals.
What?
Oh,
Why would that be?
They're all busy right now. It's just really disheartening.
Actually, I think part of it, I don't know. There are a few firms that have recently been acquired. I can think of 4 engineering firms: Nelson Nygaard, Sam Schwartz, FHI, and McCormick.
Oh, 2 of them are very interesting to us.
Yeah.
So what have you heard from Sam Schwartz?
Sam Schwartz and Nelson Nygaard were both acquired, or I'm sorry, both owned by, the name of the Dar Group. And then the Dar Group owned other engineering firms as well. And then the Dar Group was recently acquired.
Oh,
so I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I gather that, I'll just say, my firm, we do public engagement for transportation projects often, and I have not been able to get the attention of folks at McCormick, and I say it's because all their systems are changing. So it could be that they're just overextended because of that, and not because of the quantity of work they have. Or lack of
okay. No, that's a different perspective. Because I do know,
but
surveyors, if you wanted to get a survey, they're 2 months out. I mean, that's how busy they are, and a lot of the consultants.
Yeah, I mean, you could totally be right, but just.
But that plays it, because we had another real quick a period of, I'm going to say around maybe 1999 and 2002, where all the companies were gobbling up each other, and for that 6-month period, they're transferring, they're doing it, they're not.
May I ask what the budget was? Because
that does. Well, we didn't specify that in the RFP, but in general, because that is a connectivity project, they were probably looking in the $100,000 to $150,000 range for design, so it's not a bigger one. The little bit of good news is our Safe Routes for All is around $300,000 to $400,000, and that's going to be more attractive. That's a little too much money to put on the table.
There's another firm that is primarily a city planning firm, but they have a transportation specialist who I think is pretty highly regarded, Bucker's Fish and Shop Mart. They're New York City based, but they do work in Connecticut, I'm pretty certain.
Oh, okay, Bucker's, okay.
So, I mean, if you were.
And then the other one was FHI, though. That has me interested, because they've worked on a couple of projects.
Yeah, they're pretty substantial. They're planners, engineers, and public engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Sam Schwartz and FHI were on
And
the
Nelson Nygaard's
wish
doing
list
a lot
from
of
the
work in
task force.
Connecticut these days also.
I'm sorry?
Nelson Nygaard.
Oh, okay,
That's
I
another
haven't dealt
firm.
with
That's
okay.
very, Nelson Nygaard and Sam Schwartz are very similar. And I was just speaking with someone at Nelson Nygaard yesterday morning, and he was talking about work that they're doing right now in Connecticut. And they have a Boston office and a New York City office, and they, so between the two of them, they just won a big contract for bus service.
Oh, okay.
Connecticut DOT, bus service planning, it's an on-call. But I know that they're pretty well established in Connecticut, so.
Okay, no, thanks for that information, it just gives us a heads up on that.
Bill, what street, I know the initial McKinley grant is for Cardinal and Lennox,
Cardinal, Lennox, and I think it was Pope was the other one.
And then
And then we had another grant that we were piggybacking on.
Right, what
I have to
streets
find
was
the
that?
status. That would basically encompass from Naps Highway to Old Stratfield Road and whatever streets were kind of in between.
Is that the
Okay.
second one?
Yeah, that's the second one, yeah. The one is like 700,000 and, or 681 actually, and 681,000. And then the other one was like 1.4 to 1.7 million.
And do we,
So we'd be able to.
So the 100,000 is just for the planning part.
That was for the connectivity part. The other one would up it to, for the design, would up it to, usually they do about 15%.
Sorry, what does connectivity refer to then?
Connectivity basically is, the community connectivity grant is basically, a grant that they want you to take people from residential areas and bring them to the businesses or bring them to, other alternate modes of transportation.
But it covers sidewalks, though.
Yeah, so basically for Southport connectivity, we had gotten that grant because it was gonna connect the neighborhoods to get to the train station and the neighborhoods to get to the businesses there on Post Road. For McKinley School, the connectivity was to kind of help people get from the residents to Black Rock Turnpike for the businesses or to obviously McKinley School, for that one.
so the second phase of the grant has been applied for, or is?
Oh, yeah, the second one, we're supposedly in the running, we're number 4, in the state, they just have to allot and give us the official approval.
Okay, but
right?
it's not, we don't have official approval yet.
We don't have an agreement in place, no.
Okay.
No, like this one was actually awarded.
Yep.
That one, they have right now in the budget, enough money to do 4 or 5. So being we're number 4,
I see.
we're still good as long as somebody doesn't
Okay,
touch
because,
it.
Anya and I were trying to get some, help get some more support from the neighborhood for that.
Yeah, and
so
I
just
have,
wanted-
because I have out of nowhere gotten a couple of ones.
Well, and,
So that-
yes, I wanted to
Should have been a
be,
bunch.
yeah, I wanted to be,
5.
okay.
Five,
But
yeah.
so we're trying to tap into some of our friends who live up that
Mhm.
area, so I just want to be clear on what it's gonna include so that they know, so thank you.
Yep.
5.
That's, I mean, I'm talking in the like last couple of weeks.
Yeah, but that should be more, I mean,
Yeah, no, that's.
people did.
We're working on it, yeah.
That should have been at least double that.
It's slightly possible, to be honest with you.
5 just sounds like my family.
There's a batch of emails I still haven't read.
Friends too.
It's hard. I get like 150 emails a day, so it's hard.
Or who uses it,
Yeah,
like
who
walk.
uses it to walk.
They don't have to live
No,
on
I'm in
Cardinal.
favor because I can't walk my dog.
Yeah, see?
So if you walk your dogs on Cardinal,
Yeah.
you can write
And you
that.
should,
Does anyone,
tell
it's
your
not just people
neighbors
who live there,
too.
anyone who walks on the street, the idea is just include in the email, like why it's relevant to you. If you walk your dogs there,
Got
you
it. Where do I
can,
send
yeah.
it?
to Bill,
It was a whole list. It was
Bill
like,
always
it
ignores
was,
my email.
it was
Yeah,
both
I know.
Bill, it was
Well,
both
I
Bill,
was told,
Mega, and
some of the
Christine Brown.
communications go up to Claire,
Yeah.
Lisa Claire, so
So-
that.
No, Bill called me.
Both Bills, Bill Gerber, this Bill, Mega, and Christine Brown. Send it to them. That's what I was told. It's very specific. Okay. That would be like a mailing list.
And just out of curiosity, I think you might not know this, as part of that, with And, that's connectivity, okay, so it wouldn't include anything with like stop signs or anything, right?
Well, part of the, in that second grant, we did mention, some traffic calming measures and stuff like that. So it's possible we might be able to incorporate some of it, yeah.
I mean, I was just curious, having two, like, brand new drivers, well, one getting their permit and one barely having it for a year, it gets very confusing because some of the side streets, some of them have four-way stops and some of them don't. And, even crossing, like, I get confused, I'm like, wait a minute, do they have a stop sign?
It is, matter of fact, I was driving the other day and I stopped at a four-way intersection because I thought it was gonna be a stop sign, and my son goes, why'd you stop? I go, I'm just so used to it in certain
And you're looking at
areas.
It is confusing. I've been driving that way more, it is confusing.
But in the interest of time, I'll just go really quick here. For Sacred Heart Driveway, that's gonna include the pedestrian improvements and signals for the college students there. That's gonna start in May.
Sorry, what did you say, Sacred Heart?
Sacred Heart University at Park Avenue.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some signal improvements, a whole new signal there. But for the university and students that use that area, because obviously that's been...
There.
Well, they're working on
Oh,
that
they
with
did,
Bridgeport.
walking
I
and
know,
working
they
out.
have the multi-trail concept.
What's the multi-trail?
They were looking at off the road, like near 90 Acres Park, going from the university all the way to the Magnet School and the Discovery Center.
That's what it needs.
Well, 12-foot multi-purpose, Bridgeport's tried to put
it'll be
it in.
so widely
And we supported it.
It'd be so widely used.
Does it have any traction, or?
It seems to go with ebb and flow. Sometimes, one year we thought we were gonna get it, they put it in, but they didn't get it. Then it died a little bit, then it was reoccurring. MetroCog is the one, and Bridgeport are the lead agencies for that. And,
Do you think SHU would just push it through? I mean, that would be such a improvement to their campus.
The other one, we're trying to have them and work with them.
Food trucks would start getting more business?
to do, they at least got the survey done for Jefferson Street, because obviously to connect their both campuses.
Yeah.
And that, again, at least they put the white lines for shoulder lines.
The bike lanes, protected bike lanes?
Well, definitely potential bike. I hardly ever see anybody park there, so there's no reason why you couldn't do that.
And that would also be a game changer for the campus. I can't imagine the students preferring to take a shuttle or even drive.
And then they're looking at maybe another RFB or some sort of traffic signal, so there's definitely things going on, especially since they bought Notre Dame there, so there's a lot going on there. The state's designing 11 intersections from Meadowbrook to Jennings Road for signal replacement, but it's gonna be a year in design and another year or two in construction, but they're all incorporating ADA improvements.
I know Jennings. Where's Meadowbrook?
Meadowbrook is by Home Depot,
But as you have the circle, you know where.
I know exactly where it is, Near the park, no, I'm thinking Holland Hill.
No, so you leave the traffic circle where McDonald's is and you start to go up over the hill.
McDonald's?
At the traffic circle.
I thought we were at Home Depot here.
Meadowbrook starts, it gets cut in half. There's the west or northwest side of Meadowbrook that comes over 95, and then there's a big, where that big...
It's
a town battery.
We have a lot to cover.
You can spot. The town's hiring consultants, and that's part of the Complete Streets $1 million thing. That was at Mill Plain, Sturgis, South Benson. I know somebody had requested the South Benson drawing, but I think the town is holding back on it because right now we've hired a consultant to do a 3D modeling of all the traffic. So they really want to roll it out and do it that way. But again, I'll put in my word to say, hey, at least, give you guys a preview ahead of time. Like I said, I use that example of, hey, as a test, little feedback. And the state's done that with a lot of their committees when they were talking about the traffic circle here, the Peanut Roundabout. They had a technical advisory committee, and then they had a community advisory committee.
Yeah.
And they would do the community advisory committee like a week before they rolled it out to the public. So I'll try to use that as a model.
Yeah.
Well, we know if it gets sent to one or two, we know there's a network.
Yeah.
And then, we talked about the Reading Road one and all the rest. And then we have some little ones coming in, but they're important. But fence and property encroachments. I know on Burr Street, Judd, we have to go out there, take a look, then we have to write a letter, we have to certify mail, and so it takes a
The
while.
Burr one's the one that we sent you.
Yeah, that's the one with the hill. I have drove by it, I've seen it. Now, what I'd like to do is just get an old, photograph or an old street view or Google
Yeah.
of what used to be and say, no, this is what you did without a permit, remove it, and that's what we'll do. And that has the support of the DPW director, so that's.
Yeah, like on Burr Street, I guess somebody built a hill, so now people who are using the shoulder to walk their dogs
Oh,
or
something that
whatever.
Lori and Julie.
built
Yeah.
I think so, yeah, I think
Oh,
that
so
was
they're gonna
It
have
looks like
to-
they're addressing.
We're gonna have to, we're gonna send a letter out to remove it, because we never gave them
Does Lori
permission.
and Julie know the outcome of this?
Not yet, because as I said, I'm looking for an old photo to show what the difference was, and then there'll be, and if there is a difference, which I'm.
Can we just let her know that you're working on it?
Yeah, I just would like.
If you could just let her know, just saying,
I
at our
don't
meeting,
want to do it.
well, the engineering is investigating it, and,
Who's gonna address it?
and we'll, right now.
Got an email?
Yeah, and then I looped Bill in.
Yeah, I forwarded it.
Oh, it's somebody you know?
Yeah,
Okay.
Mhm.
but she had gotten in touch with you. I think that
Oh,
I
this
was.
is the Walker who got in touch with you, I assume, okay.
I just remember the email, and then I
think
looked
you
at
and I
it.
both, it was sent to both of us.
Oh,
or
okay.
Something like that. Like, I wasn't the only person to whom it was sent, but I think I may have been the only person on the committee to whom it was sent.
It was either that, or she might have used the Q alert system that we have in town, but I found out somehow, and then,
Okay, great.
so we're looking at those. All right, yep, and then 50% done with our sidewalk reconstruction in Southport of all the sidewalks, the bluestone sidewalks.
Awesome.
They've done a lot, so. All right,
Great, thank you.
thanks. Oh, you're right, hold on, wait, I skipped that, and
For
you're,
2 seconds, and I know the meeting is already long, so I just.
Yeah,
wanted
we're
to-
not gonna get to the other topics.
I was chatting with a guy at a run in Greenwich whom I happened to meet. He lives in Fairfield,
Yeah.
and he was saying that he's a big bicyclist and he finds Reading Road very concerning. Pardon me, I'm not as familiar with the geography.
Yeah,
Because
well, Reading Road has had a lot of improvements.
he said that he thinks because of there's
the
an island.
roundabout,
Yeah, that he thinks that cars are, going more towards the edge of the road to go, and so that the bicyclists are getting kind of squeezed.
We had brought that up, I had gone to a Complete Streets, and for the first time, there were 2 DPW representatives at the Complete Streets workshop. That we actually asked that specific question. If you don't mind, I'll do 30 seconds with the roundabout, you treat it as a single lane, okay? What you don't wanna do is create like a shoulder or a bike area, because when the car does this, and let's just say the cyclist goes around but they want to go this way, the car will go that way, and that creates a huge conflict. So the cyclist is actually supposed to ride in the middle of the roundabout and go, and then the car is supposed to go behind them. If they go off to the side, they always have to, both sides have to be really careful of. I mean, for Reading Road, I think most people are going north-south, but if there's ever, a roundabout, there's a big conflict.
You should excuse the pun, we can circle back to this.
Yeah.
But I did want to bring it up while it was still.
Oh, yeah, sure, but we did actually bring it up at the workshop.
But it sounded to me like the cars were hugging the edge of the street, and so the bike was feeling squeezed between the curb and the.
Well, that's where the bike shouldn't be, the bike needs to be in the middle.
In the middle,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
but
saying.
I guess maybe.
Just only at the roundabout part, yeah.
Okay, now I hope I see this guy again in.
Yeah, no, at least you could say you brought up at the meeting and discussed.
Well, it
And
might be
then-
worth
and-
like a bigger
Amy's right,
education.
I did have, right here, Villa Avenue, the contractor is in place. He's supposed to start the first week, after Thanksgiving, or the first week in December there. And as you know, we're developing that landscaping policy and agreement. And so, right now, we're, giving him the directive to, provide, topsoil, and so that we can put something there, so.
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool, thanks,
All right,
Bill.
thanks, everyone, have a
All right.
I won't be long. I mean, I could have somebody type this stuff up if you want, or,
I mean, that'd be great, I think.
I mean, and send out the updates. I mean, I tried to do it before the meeting, but I'll be honest with you, the wherever it is now, I need that back, so, the complete streets. Did you get a chance to?
I didn't, but I'll look at the backup.
Oh, okay. If not, let me know.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. It's getting late.
Maybe we should,
So should we just do the priorities next?
yeah, why don't we do a shout out to the priorities? Can we just speak about them generally?
Sure.
So, because
Go ahead.
basically I'm gonna summarize the things you and I have been talking
Go
about.
ahead.
Have a good
I
night,
think,
unless you have me here, right?
No, you're good, Bill. Have a good night.
All right, thanks.
okay, Bill, thank you.
Take care.
I think the biggest thing and what we want out of the priorities conversation, that's not gonna happen tonight, because I know it's late, but I kinda wanna highlight to Sandy, to Adrian, to Amy, we have lots of knowledgeable, passionate people in the committee, and we feel like you guys aren't being utilized. And so what we really want to do as part of the priorities discussion is, well, agree on what the priorities are, of course, but make sure that we have owners for streams of work.
Yeah.
We want to start having this meeting so that every month everyone's coming back, and they have their own update on their own stream of work, on their own project. They're quite different, the priorities, the scale of them is different. You can take a piece of some of them, but there are things that Sarah and I think are important for this committee to be involved in. So unfortunately, we won't get to it today, but I really encourage, and Sandy, Sandy, are you still there?
I am.
Okay, cool. So Sandy, I encourage you, and the other people who are still here in the committee to really seriously look at the priorities. Maybe even we can have an email discussion, ask questions about what they what they could entail. And really, it's not going to happen today, but let's make a point of in December, as one of the first things, really dive in and agree on their importance and take volunteers to own that stream of work for this coming calendar year. Otherwise, Sarah might disappear under the load of everything she's been doing. That's the other risk. So that's all I wanted to say. I think this is a really important conversation. I don't want to make it too short, because I really want the result to be that we each take ownership over an area for the next year.
And that we're set up next year to really do things, we're hit the ground running.
Yeah, there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we've done this past year, and even more we can do next year. Yeah. But we really need your help.
I'll shoot you an email.
Okay,
that'd be
perfect.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can vote on the two items, right? We have the annual report.
Well, I agree on, we should have a discussion.
We should agree on the priorities.
We should agree on I think we should discuss. The charter we discussed last time and made the updates, and if everyone's okay, I think we could vote.
Yeah, if everybody's okay to vote on that.
Do we have a quorum?
Yeah, we have 5.
We have 5. Has everyone reviewed the charter? And so we talked about it at the last meeting. I made a few tweaks based on what came up. And if you were part of that discussion, or if you looked at an email, then you know what's in it.
I make a motion to approve. I was fine with the changes.
Okay. Second? Adrian?
Yeah. Okay. I think actually I made one tiny tweak. I'll just highlight real
about
quick,
the streams of work, right?
About what the streams of work. So one change that we didn't discuss that I made between last meeting and this one is specific to this discussion, saying one of the expectations for members of this group is that you do own a stream of work. I really want to kind of emphasize that. So that's it. That's the only change.
Okay. So if everybody is okay with that, we have the motion to approve the committee charter updates. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Aye. Okay, great. Okay, cool. Sorry.
Well, you never know
when we have Bill here, but those are good updates. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess motion to adjourn.
Yeah. Second or motion.
7:55.
So moved.
I hope you're feeling okay, Sandy. Moving about.
Yeah, getting better every day. Thanks.
What's going on? You okay?
Surgery.
Okay.
I got a new hip on Monday.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. Did you get the anterior or the regular?
Interior, using a robot.
Yep, so just to give you a little bit of encouragement, my boyfriend had that, actually, it was a year ago, November 8th, but 8 weeks after he got it, we were skiing at Okemo.
Oh, nice.
That's great.
Does he go running?
Good news.
Because he also has a fake knee.
All right, thanks,
He
everybody.
was never a runner to begin with.